That is the sound of Will getting ready. Hi. Hello.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Wulff Den Live, episode 223. The one where we get all the answers we want, and Bob will tell us what exactly happened when he slid into Maisy Williams' DMs.
Did that happen?
I'm assuming you were all sending her videos on Twitter.
I was all sending her. Okay, so now we got to get into. I wanted to get immediately into the topic at hand here because I wanted the people who don't usually watch the podcast to maybe like watch. Okay, so Maisy Williams tweeted that she wanted to start streaming.
Yeah.
So I sent her she wanted to stream Animal Crossing specifically. So I tweeted her the how to stream from the Switch video that everybody should watch. Because Elgato was tweeting at her and everything. It's like, hey man, this was a sponsored video. This was our video. How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you try to get in there without bringing me in? You understand me? I don't know why the chat is spamming egg. Just the word egg.
That's a good question.
But I guess that's just our lives now.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody who's spamming egg, but a special hello to Gene Koff Morales and Ty Hen. And then Will says, hello, everybody.
Hello, anyone and everyone who is here. I only asked because my friends were asking me what you were doing, and I'm sitting there going, he's never watched an episode of Game of Thrones in his life. He doesn't know who she is.
No, I thought she was the girl from Modern Family. We have to talk about the firmware, the Switch firmware. So there's a new firmware update 10, which is a big milestone update. I did not know this was happening. Nobody knew this was happening.
No. Surprising that there've been 10 firmware updates already.
I know. That's like, so many more.
Fast.
That's so many more than the other consoles. Well, yeah. Well, okay. So firmware updates happen all the time. Nintendo just is less coy about making them big, calling them big updates. Yeah. Like normally it'll be like 1.2.9 or something, you know? But Nintendo's just like 10, here you go. How do I show my screen? Here we go. This is from The Verge. Nintendo Switch update lets you transfer game downloads to an SD card. That's not the big news, but okay, let's put that in the title.
I feel like that is fairly big. It's probably a bigger deal than the other thing that everybody made a big deal.
I didn't know that this wasn't a thing you couldn't already do. And I'm the guy.
Yeah.
You know? The Nintendo Switch's 10.0.0 firmware update, which is available now, adds the ability for you to transfer your downloaded games directly from system memory to an SD card, or vice versa, to free up storage. The update also allows you to remap buttons on your controller and illustrate your user profile from a new collection of new Animal Crossing New Horizons icons. That's a weird way to put it. They just added more icons for Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they say illustrate your user profile. Transferring data directly between the console's internal and external memory is a feature people have been asking for a while. Previously, if you filled up your internal storage and you wanted to offload games and updates to an SD card, then your only option was to re-download them. I didn't know that.
Yes, when I tried to transfer SD cards, that was a problem I had.
I think you can transfer saves, though. Or you could have transferred saves.
No, saves are hard-coded to the system itself.
Oh, you're right.
And even with this update, you cannot transfer them to the SD card.
You are correct, Will. I should never doubt you.
Thank you. Hashtag Will was right.
Where am I? This new feature should make it much quicker and more convenient. According to the patch notes, quote, downloadable software, update data, and DLC are supported, but save data and some update data can't be transferred to an SD card. When I heard this, my first thought was, because the way it was worded to me when I first saw it, it sounded like it was gonna allow, like it was put there to allow some sort of Animal Crossing situation.
Right.
Because right now you can't transfer Animal Crossing saves at all, no matter what. They're on your Switch, they're per Switch. And I know Nintendo's trying to work on something where you can transfer that. But it's still not available. So you can only have one Animal Crossing island per Switch still, even with this update. So this doesn't touch saves at all. Not even on normal games.
No. And I think what they mean by some update data, I basically like firmware update goes to the system memory itself. That stuff like you can't transfer to the SD card rather.
Yeah, I mean you wouldn't want to do that anyway.
No, but I know like Nintendo likes to over clarify everything.
True. And here's a picture of the button remapping. The new button remapping feature is accessed from the controllers and sensors section of the console's system settings. It works with the Joy-Cons, Pro Controller, and the Switch Lite's built-in controls. That's an interesting distinction. And it lets you swap around your buttons and analog sticks. Once you've set up a new configuration, you can save it as one of up to 5 presets. That's pretty cool. I did notice I played with it before. And I disconnected and reconnected my Pro Controller, and it saved the setting.
That's cool.
Helpful if you want different button layouts for different games.
Yeah.
Switch software version 10.0.0 is available now. You can update your system manually from the system section of the settings menu, but I found my console updated automatically when I booted it up this morning.
I just did it before we went live, and I had to confirm the update, and it did the whole reset, and now I have it.
Yeah, it did it while I was using it the other day. I think while I was making my last video, it kept annoying me to update, but I didn't want to update because I didn't want to lose where I was in Animal Crossing. I was on a spider island.
Nice.
So here it is from the Nintendo page. Let's read what Nintendo has to say. Added a bookmark feature to News. You know that news app you use all the time?
The news app sucks.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, it just sucks.
Mine is all Japanese because I have one Japanese account on my Switch. Or at least I did. But my last Switch, I had 4 accounts on there.
Like, I'll go to it, and then, like, you know, you go to a game, like, that it's referencing. Like, it goes to the eShop page, but then, like, it'll immediately just back out to the home screen, or it won't let you do anything else.
I mean, if I'm checking my news, it's not on the Switch.
Yeah.
But it comes up on the lock screen, and my lock screen is usually in Japanese.
Yeah.
Because of that, for whatever reason. This feature allows you to bookmark your favorite news items. A maximum of 300 news items can be bookmarked. An internet connection is required to view bookmarked news items. News items that are no longer available cannot be viewed. Okay. Nobody cares. I don't know why that's the first thing you mentioned about this firmware update. Added an option to transfer software data between the system memory and the SD card. We talked about that. Users can now transfer downloadable software, blah, 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 blah. Note that the save data and some update data cannot be transferred. Okay. Oh, update data meaning like, that could also mean some game updates.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. But I think, like, why would...
I would say Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe like, I don't know how the Pokemon save data works, but I mean, the Pokemon update data, but Animal Crossing, I would imagine that might be dumped onto the Switch itself.
Yeah.
Added an option to remap the control buttons. Analog stick and button configurations can be changed for each paired controller. Custom configurations can be saved. Yeah. Added a new section in user settings for play activity settings. The options for, quote, display play activity to and delete play activity have been moved from friend settings to the new play activity section. Okay, whatever. Added new sections to the lineup of added new selections to the lineup of user profile icons. And then, of course, there's the general stability improvements to enhance the user's experience.
Of course.
Now, have you played with the controller configurations at all?
I have not.
Well, guess what, Will?
Have you?
I have, and we're going to do it right now.
Oh, boy.
Let me just turn my Switch on real quick and also see if the chat's still spamming egg. They are. Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys are here.
There will be a reward for anyone who explains what egg is. You
people are doing that.
You will get a no prize made famous by Stan Lee in the 60s.
You know the name?
I did not mean to play that. I feel like I have to show it on screen. Oh, wait. It's going nuts here in my live view.
Okay.
But in here, I think it's like timed out. Everyone's being I don't know. I think they stopped. I think my other screen is just having a hard time catching up.
Okay.
But anyway, the game audio might blast your eardrums for a second, and I'm very sorry. How do I lower that? Boop. I'm gonna next time I stream on Twitch, guys, I'm gonna forget that I did that. So remind me that I did that. We can raise it a little bit, get a little bit of game audio in here. All right, so I guess I should show actually this first. Okay. So this is what it looks like. You go to controllers and sensors. Change button mapping. So Will, what's a good implication for this that you think? There's a lot of options.
Trying to think.
So
the one that comes to mind is Smash Brothers, but that you can do in game.
They don't have a lot of options in Smash Brothers, and we'll talk about that. The one that comes to mind for me is certain Mario games. You can make the A and B button, you can flip them around and put them wherever you want, which is useful for the Switch Online games.
If you want to use the 8-bit do M30 with any like classic Genesis games, this would be a good option for it.
Unfortunately, it wouldn't work because this only works for official Nintendo controllers. It only works for the Joy-Con, the Pro Controller, or the Switch Lite.
Oh, cheeky bastards.
Cheeky bastards. So, So Smash Brothers is what I was thinking of. I saw somebody put on Twitter an idea. So I use default.
There was an idea.
I use default controls for Smash Brothers, and a lot of people make fun of me.
Okay.
Especially for Captain Falcon, a lot of people use tilt stick. So, Will, do you know what the right stick does in Smash Brothers by default?
Isn't it smash attack?
It's smash attack.
Yeah.
So it's like hitting a direction and then A.
Yeah. It was like that on Melee.
Correct. Yes, It's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
and in Melee, I don't think you could change it. I think it was just stuck like that. So a lot of people who play Melee and moved on to Smash Ultimate still leave it at default. So what a lot of people use is called tilt stick. So you know how if you move your control stick in a certain direction and press, I could just show you.
If you move it in a certain direction and press like attack or even smash, it'll do a different move, right?
If you move it in a certain direction and press attack, it will, but it'll either smash attack or it'll do a tilt.
Okay.
If you hold the direction and then press A, it'll do a tilt. If you hit the direction and A at the same time, it'll do a smash attack.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put tilt stick on. I don't use tilt stick. I use smash stick. I just go like this and it does a smash attack.
Right.
Now I have tilt stick on, and I'm using tilt stick. What I saw online somebody do was they went into the the new controller options. Change button mapping. And you can make the middle click of the right stick a button.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. So what this person did was they made it B stick. You could also do A stick.
Okay.
If you do A stick, now your right stick is a tilt stick, but also a smash stick. It doesn't work as good as I would hope.
Okay.
It's good in theory, but so right now it's a tilt stick, but if I press it in, it's gonna pretend like I'm pressing A. So you have to nail the timing, which is the worst part. Mm-hmm. You have to click in just before the stick hits the end of the stick box.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm not getting it at all. You know what? It's actually easier to show if I do B stick. The person I saw who did it on Twitter was nailing it. And to me, there was a big talk about how, is this going to be tournament viable? Is this going to change how people play Smash Brothers? And I think the answer is no. I think it's way... I think it overcomplicates things.
To my understanding, like in tournaments, people are allowed to play Smash pretty much however they want, using whatever controller they want.
Right now, it's kind of the Wild West with using controllers.
Like people make custom controllers. The famous, like the Smash box, it's like this big, and it's basically a keyboard.
I don't think it's legal in a lot of tournaments, but people use it. People use it in tournaments.
Yeah, people do use it in tournaments. Yeah.
So if I click in the middle stick right now, it's set to B stick. This is what the person on Twitter did. He made it B stick. So if I flick, it's a tilt. But if I click in, it's B. And when I go up, you see how I do that attack?
Yeah.
But if I click in and I get it right, I'll do it up B.
Okay.
So B stick actually feels like it works better than Smash stick. Another thing that I saw was you can go back to here. Nope. Go back. No, I hate this. I gotta resync my controller now. See, but it's saved my button mapping.
Mm-hmm.
You can... This got a lot of people really excited. You go to control stick settings and you can make the right stick act like the left stick. So let me show you guys on screen here. So you see right now it says left and right.
Yeah.
If you click this, now it says left and left.
Okay.
So now my right stick will act like a left stick. And it's a lot easier to do the B moves in the direction that I want.
Yeah.
So, but this, you can just change the stick to a B stick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But now I can I'm moving with the right stick. And I can play the whole game with one hand, basically.
That's cool.
Yeah, I could recover and everything. This is awesome. And oh, you know what? I could probably, I can map one of the shoulder buttons probably to A.
Yeah.
So I can still keep doing what I'm doing, you know? That's pretty cool. It's very unlike Nintendo to have settings like this to allow you to be able to change this much.
This is like pro level stuff, like remapping buttons.
This is something I'd imagine on a PlayStation. Never.
I know for a fact PlayStation 4 has it. This was back. They did a big firmware update a couple years ago. I think in like 2015, like remapping buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a big feature for them. And I'm pretty sure Xbox has it because they're all big in like, you know, accessibility, play however you want style. So I'm pretty sure they have something similar to that. And I know they have like controller profiles you could save to the controller itself.
One disappointing thing is that you can't map the left stick to the D-pad.
Really?
Yes. But you can map whatever other button you want to the D-pad. So if you want to make A, for some reason, one of the D-pad buttons, you could do that.
Because that would have been... Because I know a lot of people had a problem with Link's Awakening.
Yep.
Because you couldn't use the D-pad. You had to use the analog stick.
I want a controller that'll let me play Smash with the left side being a D-pad. I think that'd be really cool. What else here? It is really cool that you can change the left stick to the right stick. Yeah. And of course you could do this with the Joy-Con too. One implication I saw was people were excited that you can now play Pokemon Let's Go in like a grip mode if you wanted. But that doesn't sound right. Like by changing the stick, you can now... I don't know. What is that? What would that do? Changing the stick in Pokemon Let's Go?
I don't... Because in Pokemon Let's Go, it knows like when you're docked. And when you're docked, you can only play with either a Joy-Con or... Oh,
you can only play with the left thumbstick.
Yeah, so unless you add like...
Well, now you can use the right thumbstick if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But why would you want to do that?
Maybe
Very
you're
strange.
right-handed.
Mega Dragon says, doesn't that 8-bit do controller do that, Bob, with the 2 D-pads? Yes, it lets you play Smash Bros. With a D-pad. But then you have a D-pad on the right stick, too.
Yeah, and it's a weird shape, so it's not ergonomic like the Pro Controller is.
I just want to be able to use this controller, the Pro Plus, with Smash. I think this would be awesome. You can use it. You just have to use the thumbstick. I'm happy with GameCube controllers. That's another thing. I like using a GameCube controller for Smash. So this has to have something that'll do it. We disconnected for a second, but we're back.
Oh crap.
Michael Martin says Nairo uses default Smash controls, and he's top 5 in the world. To each their own. You won't be physically able to do some things, but that doesn't matter depending on who you play. Yeah, I think Zero also did for a while. People switch.
Yeah.
But a lot of people use default controls. A lot of top players use default controls. There's nothing wrong with it. I just have to learn how to do tilt sticks with the left stick. It's really hard. Because Captain Falcon's got a lot of great tilts, and I barely use any of them. Does the Pro Plus remap? No. Well, you can remap it with the Ultimate software on desktop, so you have to plug it into a computer. You cannot remap it using this situation on the Switch. I don't know what other great ideas you can have. Like, this would have been a great... This information dropped while I was making my last video. And I was like, crap, I could have made a whole video on this because there's probably all these cool things you could do with it. And honestly, I can't really think of much. Can't think of much that I would have wanted to do outside of Smash Brothers. I will say, though, Shan in the chat says, does the GameCube controller allow remapping? No, but the PDP Fight Pad has stick clicks, but this wouldn't let you remap it.
Yeah,
because it's not an official Nintendo controller, unfortunately. And I guess the GameCube controller the official GameCube controller is official, but it's not supported. So yeah, again, I'm racking my brain here to think of another implication, and I'm kind of hoping the chat's got something. But
I mean, I'm sure there are. We just can't think of them because we typically just use default control schemes for everything. I forgot who it was, but someone in the chat said he would use them for Wolfenstein on Switch because the way that game's laid out isn't
to do
optimal
what
for Switch.
To do what?
I don't know.
I wish it worked for third-party controllers.
Yeah,
I understand why it doesn't, because that'd be like development hell.
I wish they will let you map the left analog stick to the D-pad. I think they probably did that because, the analog stick has much more, finer movements than the D-pad, but come on, man.
Yeah, it could make users think that you could do things that you can't really.
Yeah.
Like, it's not optimal, like, for some games. Like, some games you want to be able to walk instead of run. You want to be able to push the thumbstick just a little bit. And if you have a D-pad, you're full sprint, if you mash that right side. So I understand. But it's still, I want the options.
Yeah.
I want the options to be able to play it in a garbage way if that's how I want to play it. I'm thinking about when I plug in like an N64 controller, that button mapping is all messed up. There's like no good way. Ooh, all right. Here. You want to get into want to put your tinfoil hat on real quick, Will?
Okay.
What if we're getting N64 games and they did this because the button mapping would be all messed up for N64 games, so you can now remap your own whatever.
That would make the most sense.
You heard it here first, guys.
That would make a lot
classic
of sense.
games coming this September.
But wait, because a lot of times when they put N64 games on like the Wii or the Wii U through Virtual Console, they map the C buttons to the right analog stick.
Right.
But if you wanted to, so if the C buttons are now the right analog stick, but you wanted to map those to the face buttons, you can't.
No, I'm going to look, Will.
Because it's if you can't map the left analog sticks to the D-pad and vice versa, I imagine you can't map the right analog sticks to any of the face buttons.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wait.
Wait.
Wait. You can map the D-pad buttons to the face buttons.
Yeah.
You can't map the stick directions to any buttons.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Right. But you can map the D-pad buttons to the face buttons.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So yeah, no, if we're talking about C-stick or C
buttons, which are usually mapped to the right analog stick.
Yeah, we're gonna have a problem.
Unless that's a future update.
Yeah, that's the N64 controller is such a weird looking freaking controller, especially by modern standards. So it's got two big buttons. You got an A and B button, and then you got four other buttons over there. You got
the camera buttons, the C buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that acts as kind of like a right stick, but it's not. In a lot of games, like in Mega Man Legends, those are buttons. Like one's a kick.
Yeah. In Tony Hawk, that's what you use to do tricks.
Star Fox, change the camera. Yeah. It does like a loop-de-bob,
In a lot of first-person shooters, that was movement.
Yes.
That was forward, back, and strafe, and you look with the analog stick.
Well, okay, so GoldenEye, we look back at, and we're like, that was the pinnacle of controls of the era. But now when you look at the control scheme, it's like just a little weird, and it's weird enough where it'll break your brain if you try to play it. But it does have modern style control schemes. It's just you have to use two controllers.
Well, with GoldenEye, because the thing is, like Rainbow Six used C buttons for movement and look with the analog stick.
Right.
Every single game you've ever played, you move with your left hand and you do your actions with your right. But Rainbow Six and other FPSs on N64 like Turok and whatnot, they flipped it. You move with your right and you do actions with your left.
That was a big thing at the time. So the one control scheme that I'm thinking of for GoldenEye that worked like a modern control scheme, you have to plug in two N64 controllers.
Mm-hmm.
And the left player one will control looking, and the right one will control movement, just like what you said with Rainbow Six.
Yes, I think there is another one though that flips it.
No, you have to you have to take the controllers and flip them in your hands, and then it works.
That's even worse.
Yeah, so you have to have the player two in your left hand and the player one on the right. But it works like modern controls if you do it that way.
Yeah.
But the default GoldenEye controls, one of the axis is flipped on both sticks. I forgot what it is, but like, you know how on a modern control you go forward, back, and then you strafe? Yeah, on the left stick. Yeah, it's forward, back, and rotate.
Yeah.
On the left stick, yeah. So
yeah.
That's something that
if you only had one stick, that probably was the best course of action.
Yeah, but like us, when we would play like multiplayer and stuff, we would use the C stick.
Because
to strafe and whatnot, and a lot of times when you unlock that part of your brain in order to use the C stick, like you can look around the room and see who's using the C buttons on GoldenEye, and you can tell who's gonna get absolutely stomped out in GoldenEye.
Yeah,
because strafing was faster.
Yeah.
So we maybe N64 games, but maybe not. I mean, it also could be for GameCube, but then we should be able to plug in our GameCube controllers and remap that.
That's because like if they're coming out with, was it Sunshine? I'd imagine they'd let you use a game controller on that.
But then maybe they assume that it's already perfect.
Maybe.
I don't know. Or maybe they just wanted to give us the option of remap buttons.
Yeah.
Maybe there is no tinfoil hat theory. Maybe they just were being generous. I think it's, the more options, the better.
Yeah.
I'm happy that it's here. Again, I don't think there's not really anything super cool we can do that I can think of.
Right.
The Smash Brothers thing, that dude that I saw on Twitter got it working perfectly, but it's not viable enough to
Yeah.
For me to switch from a GameCube to a Pro Controller, and it's not viable enough to like learn a whole new way of playing. And plus, you kind of lose the stick that you have already. Well, I guess not. Don't listen to me. Just don't listen to me. So that's cool. Give it a shot. Check it out if you have a Pro Controller or even just the Joy-Con you can do it with. And let me know on Twitter if you have any cool ideas of how you could use it.
Yeah, but make sure they're cool.
Make sure they're cool and not stupid. Check with your parents first. Go, hey, is this a dumb idea? I do think it is great that you can change the controls for Mario in case you got a bad, Switch Online or control scheme or something.
Yeah.
But that's that. Anyway, we got a lot of super chats while we were talking about the update. Let me get out of my Switch mode here. We got Hytham G with $5. Do you think the PS5 controller looks like an Xbox controller? And do you guys think the PS5 controller ripped off the Xbox controller? What are your take? I think that it does from the side, or that one shot that they had.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
It looks like Xbox controller. It looks like it would feel like an Xbox controller. I don't think the front looks like an Xbox controller, but I think the shape and the size of it and how it would feel in the hands is probably very similar to an Xbox controller. Do I think they ripped them off? No, I think
no. I mean, it's bigger and a bit more angled like an Xbox controller. But to say that they ripped them off means that they consciously looked at Xbox and said, do everything they're doing. And I don't think that's the case. Controllers by this point have gotten so ubiquitous. It's standardized, basically. So everybody knows what controllers look like. Everybody knows what they should feel like. And, it happens to hit this point where like the Xbox controller hit the nail on the head in a lot of places. So even Nintendo with the Switch Pro controller kind of looks like an Xbox controller.
Yeah, controllers have just gotten meatier. And there's a standardization across the board. I mean, it's not like Microsoft did so much to help that standardization of controls and controllers and control schemes.
Yeah.
But it's not like they were entirely unique too. They were, Nintendo made the D-pad,
Yeah.
Shade Black? Shade Black? How do we say this? Shade with $5. I don't know why I've said that name like 1,000 times. $5. Finally able to donate. I've been watching you guys for almost 2 years now. I don't know why, but I just really like the way you guys say Mario. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I like the
somebody
way
gets it.
You like it. Eric Cooper with $5. I also get made fun of for using default Smash controls. I thought I was the only one. Yeah. And then you learn like some of the pro players use it, and then it's like, why am I being made fun of so much?
Yeah.
Also, going back to the way we say Mario, somebody told me the other day, they said, I love your videos. Thanks for being the Seinfeld / Larry David of video games.
That's not an insult.
I was like, thanks?
He basically called you the greatest video game YouTuber of all time, because many people consider Seinfeld the greatest TV show of all time.
That's not what it is. It's the Long Island accent. That's what it is. Or the Jew accent, but we're not Jewish.
No, we're just Long Island.
Which makes us honorary Jews, I think.
And we're very ornery and anxious around people. We just make things super awkward. Don't come near us.
Yeah. I was talking to my roommate the other day, who is Jewish, saying that there's so many Jewish people on Long Island and there's so many Italians that the accents just they turn into this mesh of what we sound like.
Exactly.
Anyway, Daniel Nordlund with $50.
What?
Tell your wife.
Okay.
We're going to the Sizzler after this. Will loving the gray in the beard. That was a nice choice you made there, Will.
Yeah.
Shows wisdom and knowledge. Bob, give up YouTube and invest in Keeps. Insert Keep sponsor segment here. Always call me bald. Enjoy some hymns, okay? Enjoy some of my COVID stimulus money. I'm gonna watch a different vid now. Bye. Thank you. Thanks for the $50 and then also insulting us. Take that $50 back.
Hey, no, he didn't insult me.
Okay, give it all
He
to
insulted
Will.
you.
Take $25 back. John Halstead with $5. Hey, BB boys, my hoodie came in a few days ago. Super comfortable and soft. Hell yeah, nice.
Nice. Too bad it's getting warmer, and that's a sweatshirt for a very cold day.
Yeah, it's like a jacket.
Yeah.
So we did that Verizon deal.
Yeah.
Where if you purchase something off their website, they gave you a bunch of Wulff Den apparel.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is in production right now, and it's taking a little longer because of the whole pandemic. But it is coming out, so you haven't been forgotten. Sarah Anderson with 5 loonies. Of all the great stuff you guys do, I really hope you guys are finding time for yourselves so you don't stress out. You guys are fantastic. Thank you very much, Sarah. Will doesn't have any time for himself because he has a
I was slightly late to this tonight's show because the past 2 nights, baby decided she just wants to be super cranky at night. Have kids, they said.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
I woke up at a normal time today.
Oh, proud of you.
Like 11 o'clock. See, normal time. Mecha Dragon with $2. Will, what's going on with the WWE?
I'll catch you up to speed. Pretty much they are releasing a lot of talent. Like 30 wrestlers got fired today.
Oh my God.
And they also fired a bunch of backstage people. It's weird because they're very concerned about profit and money right now because they're not really making much because of what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Are they losing money or something?
It's Vince McMahon and his wife, because they're friends of the president, were able to lobby hard to get wrestling classified as an essential business.
Oh my God!
So they're allowed to go to work in Florida.
Where they do text Trump,
basically. So yeah, they're an essential business, and then they just got rid of a whole bunch of people, which is weird because every other wrestling promotion in the country right now who is not as well off as the WWE aren't firing anybody. They're just like, we'll figure out how to make this work. Everyone stay calm. No one's going anywhere.
Is it still Vince McMahon?
Yes.
Like running things, or is that just like what it is?
No,
okay.
It looks like he's taking a step back, but and you can ask MDB this, although I'll give you the short version because he'll be here for like 3 hours.
That's true.
He, the past few months, he has rewritten Monday Night Raw himself an hour before live time.
That's so lame.
He needs to. He's not going to retire, so he just needs to die.
That's terrible, Will.
I know,
You're
but I mean, what do you expect?
What do you expect? I just want better wrestling.
I know.
And if that means a human sacrifice, so be it.
Well, watch AEW. It's on right now.
Muhammad Al-Alamin with £5. Euros?
Pounds.
One
day I'll get that right.
Either of you played Hollow Knight? Thoughts? Bob, it was hilarious watching you destroy wood from beat-em-ups on Smash. He stayed mad for like an hour. Did you see that? Did you hear about that at all?
No, I didn't hear about that.
So I was on his charity stream.
Yeah, I knew you were doing that, yeah.
And he had people vote on what the next game was going to be, and I was like, Smash. Let's do Smash. Let's play Smash. So I was trying to get people to vote for Smash, and then they did. Yeah. So then I just laid down the law, and then he got mad because he's like, I could beat you. I could beat you. And then we played 10 rounds, and he didn't win a single round.
Yeah.
But then what you guys don't know is that night when he was done streaming and then I was done playing freaking Call of Duty, this was 2 a.m. He was like, rematch right now. And then we played another 10 to 20 rounds, and he won 2 of them. But he won. He won a Ganon Ditto, and he won...
Yeah.
Oh, I think he won a Falcon Ditto.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, that's it for Super Chat. Oh, no, either you played Hollow Knight. I did play Hollow Knight. It was good. I think it was good. That's me being condescending.
Yeah.
It was good, but, people, like, really hyped that game up. And we got another $50.
What?
From Daniel Norland. Will. Oh, never mind. Wait. Yeah, no, this is a new one. Will, here's some more for Bang energy to stay up with the baby of yours. Congrats, by the way. Bob, hi. Why? What's with the Will love?
Look, I'm not complaining. Diapers aren't cheap.
Mega Dragon with $5. Also, Bob, you gotta play One Step from Eden. It's basically a roguelike Battle Network game. Everybody says that. I don't like the Battle Network Mega Man games. I'm sorry to do it to you.
Have you ever played a Battle Network game? Because I haven't.
No, I've never played it because I don't want to play that.
Yeah. I feel like
because that's like super RPG.
It's, as far as I know, it's basically Pokemon, but you have to, like, the stats for your characters are more important.
Yeah, I'm not about that.
Yeah.
I want to play Mega Man. I don't want to play an isometric Pokemon.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to actually talk about some news stories here.
Yeah.
The whole time I was talking about a tweet some guy did about the whole Smash Bros. Thing. This is the guy. Oh, that's the wrong scene. Spark Jones 31. He was playing Shulk, and he seemed like it was Oh, you can change the middle click of the left and right stick. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Seems like a good use. I should have thrown this in when we were talking about the firmware. Eric, put this in the clip. We forgot to mention that the Nintendo Switch 10.0.0 firmware update supposedly adds preliminary support for a new hardware model.
Oh.
So there's some more biddies shoved in there. This is Nintendo Life, of course. The new firmware update for the Nintendo Switch may not have given us folders or themes, which is another thing we forgot to talk about. That's what everybody wants, is folders and themes. But Nintendo could have something far more exciting planned. According to a story via Nintendo Everything, a UK-based data miner reverse engineer named Mike Heskin has discovered the latest system update adds preliminary support for a new hardware model. Here are the findings posted on his Twitter page, which also suggest there's evidence of a second display of sorts exclusive to this model. That's weird. Is this going to be the tweet? Firmware 10.0.0 adds preliminary support for a new hardware model, NXABCD. 3 of the 5 new DRAM profiles are for this new hardware type, and there's evidence of a secondary display of sorts being added exclusively on this model. So, 2DS? When asked by...
A Wii U situation?
Oh, God, I hope not. When asked by a follower how powerful this new unit could potentially be, Heskin said it would be running on the X1 Plus, which refers to NVIDIA's Tegra X1 chip. Right, it's all still X1, actually X1 Plus, which is X1 with the new T214/T20B01 SoC. Did you get all that?
I know SoC means system on a chip.
Oh, how do you know that? How do you know that from?
Because I'm smart, damn it.
That's from there's a like a retro thing that has that.
You know those like cheap knockoff video game systems you get at mall kiosks?
Yeah.
Those all run on what's called system on a chip.
Oh, okay.
But like
I knew there was a reason.
Like legitimate electronics use that, but that's where I first heard of it.
I'm not sure how much more power they can squeeze out of it, as it is 4K, for example, seems near impossible. For some time now, there has been ongoing rumors about Nintendo releasing an additional Pro model Switch. Get that out of your damn head. In January, we heard how this rumored system might not actually be as powerful as expected, and during Nintendo's financial results briefing, Around the same time, President Shuntaru. I'm trying to nail these pronunciations, Will.
Well, try harder, damn it.
Shuntaro Furukawa said, I'm also trying not to go full weeb, said there were no plans to launch a new Switch model in 2020. So, okay. I don't quite understand this. When they say second display, when I first read this, I imagined a different display, like how the Switch Lites is smaller. You know, that's what my head thought. But when I'm rereading this, it sounds more like an additional display, like how I have two monitors here right now.
Well, yeah, secondary usually means like in addition to, you know?
Well, it's just well, yeah, I thought it was a second model. Like this display is just different. Maybe it's an OLED or something, you know?
No, because
like how there's two PSP screens.
No, because usually when they say secondary, they mean like, you know, a secondary character or a secondary processor, like something that is in addition to the main one.
Well, there's a second Switch unit. It's the Lite.
Yeah, but you don't call that the secondary unit.
Well, they're not saying secondary. They're just saying second display.
No, it specifically says there is evidence of a secondary display. Did I just blow up your mind?
No, I still say second display. Where do you see secondary display?
In the tweet.
Oh, in the tweet. In the tweet, it says it right there.
Yeah.
But at the top, it says adds preliminary support for a new hardware model.
Yeah, a new hardware model
of the new Switch.
A new hardware model that could support output to a secondary display.
Correct. And now my brain is thinking of like a 2DS situation.
It could be a 2DS. Like, honestly, it could be like a Wii U situation where the dock is powerful enough to like beam extra video data to the TV while you have your Switch in your hands.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a weird Nintendo thing that we can't forecast, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
And I've been beating the drum that there is no Switch Pro. We're not going to get 4K Switch. It's not going to be any better than 1080p. You know, that's just not going to happen. And I'm still beating that drum. But I do think Nintendo has some weird hardware situation in their back pocket for this year. Unfortunately, because of the virus, it might be early next year.
Yeah.
But I think that there is a new hardware situation that they're being very quiet about because where are the games? There's got to be a reason why they haven't said anything about the end of the year.
Well, Nintendo usually plays things close to the chest until they're ready to show off the game, you know?
Right.
Like they didn't announce Mario Odyssey until like, you know, a few months before it was going to get released anyway. So I think that just because they're being silent doesn't mean they don't have games for this year. I just, you know, think they're not ready to show it off because we saw what happened. Like Metroid Prime 4, they announced too early and now there's an extra delay on it.
Well, Mario, we at least got to see it like way before it was announced.
Right.
You know, we knew it was coming.
Right.
I think that there's a new hardware, like a weird new hardware, and they have some big game for it, and they can't show it because it would give away what the weird hardware is like, you know? And if it's two displays, that could be it. I can't imagine Nintendo making a successor to the Switch now.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. But having a second display in the unit, something's up. I'm weirded out.
Unless it's not like, you know, because we're thinking either 2DS or Wii U. Maybe like secondary display is like the Dreamcast VMU.
That's true.
Where it's like a tiny little screen that displays like stats and crap.
That's true. But how? Like again, this is a weird, wacky Nintendo thing that we're never gonna understand until it comes out. And it's like, okay, before the Switch came out, I was like, this is gonna be a big deal. Everyone's gonna love this. It's gonna be great. It's what everybody wanted the Wii U to be. When the Wii U came out, everyone was like, what the hell is this thing?
Yeah.
So it's very possible that this could be like a dud. You know, this could be a weird, wacky thing. It comes out, everyone's like, why do I need this? I already have the Switch.
Yeah.
Or it could be like the 3DS or the DS, where it comes out and everyone's like, this is weird. Why do I need this? Oh, look, the games are amazing. You know, because when the DS came out, everyone was
like, why do I need this? And then Nintendogs came out.
And then Nintendogs came, and the killer app. What was the DS killer app? Was it Nintendogs?
It was Nintendogs, Brain Age.
Brain Age, yes.
It was like a lot of like the casual games.
It was a lot of things. It was a couple of different things. Whereas the Game Boy, it was Tetris. The Wii, it was Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have to... if I had to place my bets, if I can invest in the Nintendo market, I would say that we're getting a weird, wacky hardware.
Yeah.
That's supposed to come out at the end of the year, but it might be pushed back now. Okay. Oh, look, our dad's in the chat.
Oh, yay.
Son 2, when did you join the cast of Duck Dynasty? Ha 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 ha.
You can always count on our father to do topical humor. Topical 2014 humor.
Anyway, we got more super chats. Daniel Nordlund, who loves us right now, loves you. I'm sorry.
Well, me. He just keeps giving me $50.
With another $50, that's too much money. Stop giving us money. Honestly, guys, I only watch Wolf Den Live for Will and his comic knowledge. Okay, then just put a post-it note over my half of the screen. Love your vids, Will. And Bob, I just love picking on you because you always get it. And seeing you guys laugh at my little jabs makes my day. Thanks for a great channel. Keep it going, guys. Thank you very much. I'm taking all of your money.
You don't have to give money to make fun of Bob. I do it for free all the time.
No, Will gives me $10 every time he makes fun of me. Demolition Man 5 with $2. Will love R2 mug. He is the best fantasy character ever.
Thank you. I will debate that he's fantasy. He is, unless you mean just fictitious in general. But I will fight anybody. Star Wars is science fiction. It's got spaceships, damn it.
It's a space fantasy.
Yeah.
Another good space fantasy? Destiny.
I started watching Trigun again, speaking of space fantasy. It holds up. It's weird, but it holds up.
So I was trying to read the manga, and it does not hold up.
God, the manga is like 30 volumes, and it ended in like 2010.
So... The like a few days ago, I got into a hole where I was reading like the differences between the manga and the anime.
Yeah,
and it answered a lot of questions for me. Okay. I did have a lot of questions, like there's like the black-haired Vash.
Yeah,
you seen that on the covers?
I've seen. Yeah,
apparently when he uses his powers, he like his hair starts to change color.
Really?
And it's like a life limit. Like if it gets too black, then he dies.
Interesting.
And the same thing happens with knives.
Yeah.
Which is not in the anime at all.
No, the anime, like, it was always weird because I know the manga is like super long, but the anime like is definitively ends.
Yeah.
Like when he beats knives. Spoiler alert. So
if you've never seen Trigun, I highly recommend. I struggle to call it my favorite anime because it's been so long since I've seen it. But it's best to go in completely blind and just start from the beginning because it takes all of these weird, wacky turns.
Yeah. It's like, just to give you an idea, it starts off as like this kind of kooky space western, and then it just gets like super bizarre and mythological and serious and dark. But it's really good.
It's really freaking good. Yeah. Tim with $2. Stop hating on Bob. He's my fave cranky pseudo Jew. I hate this. I hate this narrative you people have woven. Super Saiyan 7 with $5. What if secondary display is going to let us use a Switch Lite like a Wii U tablet, like people were originally hoping for?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It could be something weird like that.
But I feel like then that's getting into like remember on the GameCube you can hook up your GBA, and that's how you can play like Four Swords Adventure or Crystal Chronicles, things like that. A lot of like there were games that supported it, but a lot of people didn't wind up playing that way because that got expensive. You had to get extra Game Boys, you had to get link cables. you had to get the games that supported it, and sometimes you just get the Game Boy edition of those games. Like, it was a pain in the ass.
It could be like what, I mean, Nintendo would be like 10 years behind on this, but it could be like using a tablet. Like, you can hook a tablet up to the Switch and then have, what do they call that
Oh, Smart Glass?
Yeah,
on
Smart
Xbox?
Glass, or a PlayStation, they called it something.
Yeah, when was the last time anybody said Smart Glass?
Yeah.
Just said, not even used. Just said the phrase Smart Glass.
Maybe they're trying to port some 3DS games,
Or-
and you would need to put your phone and
I was gonna
connect
say
it.
maybe they're trying to support some Wii U games that like need the tablet, but the
True.
only one I can think of is Mario Maker, and they just put the sequel on the Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, there's ways. I mean, you would have to develop, but there's ways around it.
Yeah,
Maybe they just want to port a bunch of 3DS games and they don't want to, or DS games, and they don't want to do any development.
maybe.
I don't know. It's gonna be something weird.
Yeah,
It could be as simple as just connecting your phone to the Switch and just using it as another display.
yeah. Super Saiyan with another $5. They mentioned the new hardware rumor from the firmware update, so maybe it's actually an update and not a new physical device.
Yeah, it could be an update where you could connect an existing device already.
Yeah,
Also, there's the whole situation with Mario Party where you can connect multiple Switches together.
yeah.
Could be something like that. Maybe you buy another Switch and you can use it as a second display for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nintendo's got something up their sleeve though. Something weird's happening. Okay, now can we move on?
I guess.
Pokémon Pink. That's it. That's the article. So I first saw this in this tweet by the Cutting Room Floor, which is a Twitter account that says a wiki home for digital archaeology, discovering and examining unused, cut, and debugging content in video games. They tweeted, "We're aware of the recently posted code/assets for Pokemon Blue and Yellow. Documentation on it is ongoing. We're having some internal discussions on how to handle it given the situation." Apparently, they don't like just posting like data mine stuff that they find because like somebody could get in trouble and there's copyright issues and whatever. But you know who doesn't care? This guy. What's his name? Dr. Lava. According to
a name like that.
According to Nintendo Life, Pokemon Yellow data mine unearths potential scrapped Pokemon Pink version. A new data mining effort has potentially revealed the existence of a scrapped counterpart to 1998's Pokemon Yellow for the Game Boy, with evidence suggesting a Pokemon Pink version was at one time in development. Source code from both Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Yellow has supposedly leaked online over the past couple of days. Dr. Lava, known for being a reliable source of scrapped video game content and Pokemon development information, says the source code is almost certainly legit, going on to note that Pokemon Pink would have likely started either Clefairy or Jigglypuff as its box art star. I'm going to stop right there. The header of this has Clefairy in the picture.
Yeah.
It's definitely Jigglypuff.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no way it's Clefairy.
Clefairy was like the bootleg Jigglypuff in an official Pokemon game. Let's be real here.
Well, Yellow is a thing because of the anime, right? Because everybody loved Pikachu from the anime. So they're like, let's friggin'
more or less,
put Pikachu in the forefront. And Jigglypuff was also a big deal in the anime.
Yeah.
I don't remember Clefairy being a big deal in the anime. I remember Jigglypuff friggin' drawing on people's faces.
Yeah.
Anyway, interestingly, the header of the Pokemon Yellow source code reportedly refers to the game as Pocket Monsters Pink and Yellow. So there were going to be two.
Right.
Just like there are in every generation. Well, I mean, there's like Crystal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Yellow was obviously the original third Pokemon game.
Yeah.
They probably weren't planning on doing that until they put out Yellow, and then when they did Gold and Silver, they're like, let's do Crystal.
Yeah, maybe they were. Nothing was established yet.
Yeah.
So maybe they were like, we have to always do two.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I read that already, didn't I? Interestingly, the header of the Pokemon is pink.
Pokemon is pink.
With additional pink referencing being found elsewhere too. A roundup of current finds on Reset Era shows the following image, and that's the tag. 1 yellow package, 0 pink package. I don't want to ever read that again. Elsewhere, the Pokemon Yellow source code includes several audio files taken from the Japanese Pokemon anime, suggesting that Pokemon other than Pikachu were originally intended to receive their anime voices in place of the digital cries found in-game. These cries suffer from a very low audio quality, however. I would love to hear those. Why would... That sounds like freaking either Jigglypuff or Clefairy, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that we're still stumbling across discoveries, blah, blah, blah. Does the Reset Era post have the freaking audio files? That would be sick. Wait. Yeah.
It does. Oh.
This might blow out your eardrums, though. I'm very sorry if it does.
All right.
Everybody just lower your devices real quick. Should I show this? Do I have any damning images here? Any porn on here? No, okay. Just play. Groove music? I hate Windows. Play a media player. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was horrifying. I'm going to play that again. Get your speakers ready. Oh, that was so annoyingly loud. You don't get to hear it, Will.
Well, I downloaded and heard it on my end. That is unpleasant.
That's from the anime?
Remember, it has it like compressed down to not even Game Boy Color, original Game Boy.
I like this guy's response because the file's name is Deguda, and this guy's response is just all jargony and messed up. I am very sorry, everybody. Well, you might have to mark that and lower it for podcast listeners.
All right.
Sounds like Jigglypuff. Everyone's saying that's Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff has a beautiful singing voice. It can't possibly be Jigglypuff. I don't know. Hey, man, I warned you. I gave you full warning that I was going to blow your eardrums out. Well, so that's that. We would have gotten a Pokemon Pink version, and then Jigglypuff would have been just as popular as Pikachu.
Yep.
But it didn't happen. Nintendo shuts it down once again.
Yeah. Screw you, Jigglypuff.
Screw you. Hey, the ESRB introduced a new label to indicate that games have loot boxes.
Oh, yeah. I saw that, and I'm like, oh, I should put this in the keep. And guess what I did not do?
I did. I heard that, I think it was Inside Gaming made a video on this, and they said cowardly ESRB puts a label, to distinguish loot boxes. Why are they cowardly for this? Is it for this or is it for other things?
Because they're, kowtowing down to the politicians, man, trying to keep gaming down. Gaming is supposed to be free and screw the politicians.
This is a good thing.
The ESRB was created to protect gaming from politicians.
I think
that's its whole purpose.
If you're a parent trying to buy a game for a kid, you want that to be one of the things, that's right. Told to you. Yeah. Like, is my kid gonna run up my credit card if I buy this game?
Exactly.
Well, anyway, this is according to The Verge.
Yeah.
The Entertainment Software Rating Board, ESRB, which is the organization that rates the content of video games, announced a new label today to indicate that a game will offer in-game purchases of loot boxes or similar types of items that provide a player with randomized rewards. I'm already stroking out. Quote, this new interactive element, in-game purchases, includes random items, will be assigned to any game that contains in-game offers to purchase digital goods or premiums with real-world currency or with virtual coins or other forms of in-game currency that can be purchased with real-world currency. Oh, so no matter what, it has to be purchased with real-world currency.
Yeah.
But it says includes random items.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you buy a loot box that has random items in it.
Right. Okay. That's what
Yeah.
they're saying.
Yeah, because that was the whole original controversy, because that was could be construed as gambling.
Right. For which the player doesn't know prior to purchase the specific digital goods or premiums they will be receiving. So it's specifically
Right.
loot boxes. Loot boxes, item packs, mystery rewards.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wait. So they already have the in-game purchases
Yeah,
label.
it says there already is something that says it contains in-game purchases, but it doesn't specify whether that's downloadable content, like extra levels, whether that's loot boxes, whether
Correct.
that's weapon packs or things like that. It's just a blanket statement,
Which is good because it tells you whether, if you have like a young kid who might just mash through controls,
yeah,
they might mash over to the buy now screen.
Yeah.
But this new distinction says in-game purchases includes random items.
yes,
Which is their way of saying loot boxes.
yes.
Label applied to loot boxes, gacha games, item or card packs, prize wheels, treasure chests, and more, the organization said. The new label will sit below the game's content rating as seen in the photo above. The ESRB originally introduced the in-game purchases label in February 2018. That late? But that label was broad enough that it could be applied to any game that offered any sort of buyable digital good, including non-randomized items like subscriptions, season passes, or upgrades to disable ads, or like what we said, just straight up DLC, which a lot of games have that. Like maybe it's a new level.
Yeah.
Loot boxes have come under heavy criticism for resembling gambling by hooking gamers and children into spending real money in the hope of acquiring sought-after in-game items. The ESRB said today, since creating the in-game purchases label, quote, game consumers and enthusiasts, not necessarily parents, have reached out to us asking the ESRB to include additional information to identify games that include randomized purchases. This is just something that I think people like to know before they buy a game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not even that I need to be warned as a parent or as somebody who's buying a game for a child. It's just that, like, people want to know, are there loot boxes in this game? Am I going to be coaxed into gambling today?
Yeah, and I think the problem was, publishers were not making that clear, ahead of time. Like, EA did not put on boxes for Battlefront 2, contains loot boxes, contains, random purchases.
Mm-hmm.
That was a surprise to everybody, like when they played the game. So
yeah, and it wasn't in the previews of that game.
Exactly.
It was
something
a surprise.
Like this, like, forces them to be transparent and honest with their consumers, saying like, yes, there is in-game purchases, and yes, some of them are random.
Yes. Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony have committed to requiring publishers of their games on their platforms to disclose the odds of receiving items from loot boxes and are targeting sometime in 2020 for that policy to take effect. And many major game publishers have also committed to disclosing loot box odds by the end of 2020. It's a little unfortunate that that's the world we live in now, that loot boxes are just like completely commonplace. But luckily, publishers are getting the idea that single-player games are still viable in 2020.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's something that's kind of related, but not really. You know that game Valorant that everybody's playing now?
Valorant?
Have you not heard Valorant at all?
Have I?
Will, you're a dad now.
I am. I don't. What are video games?
It's a piece. This is a PC game.
Okay, is it like Fortnite? Because I've heard of Fortnite.
No, it's made by Riot. It's
yeah, no, I do know this game.
It's a mix between Overwatch and Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
It looks like both of those games had a baby. It's in beta right now.
Okay.
So you can't play it unless you have a beta key.
Right.
However, streamers are streaming it.
Streamers are streaming.
Certain streamers have a drop command, and you can, by watching their stream, randomly get a beta key to play the game.
Interesting.
I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the idea that betas are used as promotional devices.
Right.
Like, it's a beta because they want your feedback to make the game better.
Yeah.
But now they're like dangling this over your head, like, if you watch this content, we'll give you a key.
beta has turned into demo.
Yeah, it should be a demo.
The difference is because they call it a beta, that means they can take it away from you, and they can excuse things like
Oh, I didn't
certain
think about
bugs
that.
and features that don't work. Yeah.
I would say they call it a beta, so it doesn't have to be finished or good.
Well, yeah, that too. But
I didn't think of that they could take it away.
Right. What beta do you know that like is still around after the game launches?
Well, I know games that launch as betas or alphas,
Right.
and then just never end.
There's bugs and glitches in it, and at the end of the month, you don't get it anymore.
Right. OBS cut out again. You were talking about the Call of Duty beta.
Yeah. Well, just betas. I use Call of Duty because that's like a typical example.
Yeah, but do demos go away after? Don't they? Can't you have a period of a demo, like the Resident Evil demo, for example?
Well, that came back.
Oh,
that came back.
Well,
but
never mind.
Yeah, there are like demos that are only around for a little bit. But the thing like a demo is supposed to be more indicative of what the final product will be.
Right.
You slap the word beta on there, and that can excuse, like I said, bugs, glitches, and things that don't work, even when the game comes out and all those problems are still there.
But that's what I mean. Like, if you're trying to put this game out for people to see as promotion for when it's eventually released, why would you want it to be the unfinished version? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I understand that development cycles are really long, and this is like a shortcut. But I just don't like the whole dangling in front of people's faces on certain pieces of content,
Because betas are weird because a lot of them you have to sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates like this exclusiveness to a glorified demo. Like, oh, make sure you pre-order this game so you get access to the beta for this other unrelated game. And something like this, they're giving beta keys to streamers, which, okay, fine. That's one thing. But then the streamers also have secret codes that, their viewers can get. And like, you have to be a viewer of the certain streamer in order to play the beta. It's like, it's just this weird, unnecessary web. If you want people to play the beta, just put a link to it on your website.
Yeah, that's why. It's like, it's either promotional material or it's not. Like, the reason people have to sign up for the beta is so that they can give feedback.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's weird. I know I'm not supposed to read tweets right now, but I got a tweet from Triton, that one guy who says you can change the controls on the SN30 Pro like it's a Pro controller. So
in the Switch system,
I'm gonna have to try that right now. Right. Do we have super chats?
I think we do.
Just one. Yeah, you read that.
Hold on. Streamlines has to refresh. Here we go. Jose Alex 22 donated $2 and said, any idea when we could personalize our Switch menu? Tomorrow.
No.
My uncle Max, who works at Nintendo, said that tomorrow they're going to put out firmware update 10.0.1, and it will let you add wallpapers and folders and a little sound effect every time you launch a game. Mario goes, wahoo!
How's old Uncle Max doing?
What's
his last name again?
Max Stapler.
Max
Stapler.
I was hoping you'd say Max Power.
I was thinking that.
Oh crap! I forgot I'm not using the right. I switched my camera. But anyway, here.
No idea. I don't think Nintendo is really interested in customizing, personalizing your Switch menu and things like that. If they were, they probably would have done it by now, because that seems like something they could easily do.
Here, button mapping. Change. Will it actually work though in the game though? That's my question, because this is a Pro controller now. This is changing the button mapping of a Pro controller. Let's make the freaking right stick click the B button. Done. Okay. Oh, it says modified in the bottom right corner. You can't see it because my big dumb face is over it. Where is my big dumb face? Here. You can see it now. It's in the bottom left corner. It says it's been modified.
Oh, look at that.
Yep. It did it. My right stick is B stick. It did it.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you, Triton. Hey, Eric, now you got to edit this into the other thing for the clip. That's cool. That's useful. I could use this controller if I want to remap and still be able to play my NES games and stuff.
There you go.
Okay, what's next?
Follow up to what could possibly be the most important gaming news of the year.
Weirdest, wackiest thing to have happened to me in my personal life, Will.
Yes. This has affected us all very greatly. It is, of course... Why is my mic coming off? It is, of course, the great Cooking Mama Cookstar controversy of 2020.
So this
is the reason why we're all on lockdown, people. This game.
You linked me to ofcr.co.jp.
Okay. So I learned today because YouTuber Matt McMuscles did a deep dive into this game, unbeknownst to I wasn't aware he was doing this. So we learned last week that Cooking Mama is owned by
14 million different companies.
Well, primarily they're owned by a company called Cooking Mama Limited.
Okay.
They used to be known as Office Create, but when Cooking Mama blew up, they changed their name to Cooking Mama Limited.
So OFCR is Office Create.
Yes, because apparently at some point they changed their name back to Office Create.
Maybe they were like, we got to get some more IPs. Cooking Mama just ain't paying the bills.
So to catch you up to speed real quick, Cooking Mama Cookstar was supposed to be the new Cooking Mama game, launch on the Switch, whatnot. It was going to get a physical release and a digital release, but then it got pulled from all releases, but some physical versions got out and some people were able to download the game onto the Switch. Office Create.
Wait, I'm on the Office Create website, and the top right here has a big exclamation, because I'm looking, I'm like, do they have Cooking Mama Cookstar anywhere here? Yeah. And the top, Cooking Mama Cookstar, warning, and then some Japanese that I can't read.
Yeah, so Cooking Mama Cookstar, there's...
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you again. Important notice, read Cooking Mama Cookstar, and then you click it, and then it takes you to what you linked me to. All right.
Yes. Okay, so this is from Office Create, aka Cooking Mama Limited, the owners of the Cooking Mama license. We would like to thank our fans and customers for their support over the years for the Cooking Mama franchise. As many of you know, Planet Entertainment LLC, headquartered in Connecticut, USA, and then Planet is in quotes, I think because that's the shortened version they're going to use for the rest of the article, recently released Cooking Mama Cookstar for sale in the US, Europe, and Australia. This was an unauthorized release in breach of Planet's contract with Office Create. In August of 2018, Office Create licensed Planet to develop the Cooking Mama Cookstar game for the Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately, the quality of the game builds failed to meet the standards that our customers expect and deserve. Office Create rejected a wide range of deficiencies affecting the overall feel, quality, and content of the game. Yet despite being contractually obligated to correct the identified deficiencies and resubmit the corrected game for Office Create's approval, Planet proceeded to release Cooking Mama Cookstar without addressing all of the rejections and without Office Create's approval.
This is they're going hard at Planet Entertainment.
Yeah. We have also learned that Planet and/or its European distributor has been promoting an upcoming European release of a PS4 version of Cooking Mama Cookstar. Office Create has not licensed Planet or any entity to create any Cooking Mama games for the PS4. What? Office Create itself has not been involved in the development of any PS4 Cooking Mama game. On March 30th, 2020, Office Create notified Planet of its immediate termination of the license due to Planet's international material breach of the license contract. Despite such notice, Planet continues to advertise and sell the unauthorized version of Cooking Mama Cookstar on its website in willful violation of Office Create's rights. To date, Planet has not confirmed the status of the unauthorized PS4 version. Office Create is evaluating all legal action against Planet to protect our customers, intellectual property rights, and the Cooking Mama series. In the meantime, we thank our customers and loyal Cooking Mama fans for their continued support and sincerely regret any confusion and disappointment that has been caused by Planet's conduct.
So you go on the Planet Entertainment website and you can, it's sold out.
Right.
But there isn't you can, it's on the buy page. Like
right.
It says
well, because
buy
now it's a collector's item.
Yes. I would love to get my hands on this game.
So, and if you remember last week, we found out that there were 2 Twitter pages for Cooking Mama, one for the general Cooking Mama franchise and one specifically for Cookstar.
Right.
The Cookstar Twitter page released a statement from Planet Entertainment in response to the Office Create statement.
Oh, drama.
Planet Entertainment wants to explain the mystery surrounding the Nintendo Switch game to all Cooking Mama Cookstar fans. Office Create, the rights holders to Cooking Mama, approved a detailed game design in 2019. First playable, the game developer and Planet followed the exact approval design. That design is the exact game on the Nintendo Switch, which also includes many additional Office Create suggestions with added gameplay value. Unfortunately, creative differences arose as Cooking Mama Cookstar was nearing completion that were outside the scope of our agreement and the game design approved by Office Create. By contract, Planet is fully within its rights to publish Cooking Mama Cookstar. There is no active litigation or ruling that prevents Planet from publishing the game. Cooking Mama fans have been very enthusiastic about Cookstar, including the many features. What?
No, they haven't, but continue.
Planet is fully with. No, where was I? Cooking Mama fans have been very enthusiastic about Cookstar, including the many new features, including vegetarian and unicorn food, potluck party, plus more. We appreciate the overwhelming positive response and support from Cooking Mama Cookstar fans. Office Create has our total respect. We thank them for their wisdom and wish them well.
What positive response? Everyone thought you were Bitcoin mining.
I think the positive response was the fact that it's selling out. But not because it's a good game.
It's selling out because they can't make anymore because they're under litigation. Let's look at the IGN review.
Yeah, the IGN review is abysmal.
3. Awful. Cooking Mama Cookstar is a stale, undercooked simulator that needed a lot more time in the oven. That might be why Office Create didn't accept it.
Yeah.
Also, so the Planet Entertainment website has all Switch games.
Yeah.
What made them think they could publish this on PS4? I don't understand where that came from. They just freaking went wild with it.
I forgot if we talked about this last week or if it was in the Matt McMuscles video, but apparently Planet Entertainment is just some guy's house in Connecticut.
Oh, no, we did not talk about that.
Yeah.
Is that like where the business is like listed to?
Yeah.
We should show up. Hey, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, we're investigative journalists.
Did we also determine that there were games released on different consoles that weren't Nintendo consoles? Cooking Mama games? Like, I always thought they were all Wii and DS games.
They're primarily, well, that's what it's famous for. They made they made a theme on the DS.
Were they ever on any other platforms?
I don't think
I'm seeing
so.
Wii and DS. What the hell made them think they could just put it on PS4? I'm so Cooking Mama PlayStation?
I think it's all been Wii and DS. This is just
this is such a bizarre such a bizarre story. So Office Create was just like, okay, we want you to, for whatever reason, we want you to make this game. Here's all of the guidelines. All right, and then Planet Entertainment just went, we're just gonna gung ho this.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's pretty good. We should make a few changes here or there. Nah, it's out.
Yeah.
And it's coming to PS4. And you can't stop us.
That's like the craziest thing to me is that Planet Entertainment, who does not own the rights to Cooking Mama, is like, yeah, no, we're allowed to release this.
Yeah, we're allowed to release this, and we're allowed to do more than just release it. We're gonna release it on multiple platforms. What I need to see what Planet Entertainment thinks is in their contract that allows them to release it.
I know. I mean, I'm sure
that statement made it sound like Office Create approved it.
Yeah,
but
which Office Create is saying they didn't.
Yeah, that can't be true. I don't know. That's weird. This whole situation is out of control. I hope they stop making the game.
Yeah,
because apparently it's trash, and the reason why it's trash is because they got a bunch of revisions, and we're like, we're not going to do the revisions.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully they can bury this game, and then Office Create can just go back to whoever made the previous Cooking Mama games that people actually seem to like.
So it was published by Planet Entertainment.
Yeah.
Developer is First Playable Productions.
Yeah. They're the developer that Planet contracted.
They're from Troy, New York. So this is a company I haven't even looked at.
They made like a Ben 10 game. I remember looking that up last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do remember you saying that.
Yes.
Download our games. Cooking Mama Cookstar. Featured product. You should get that off your page. What we make. They make a lot of mobile games too.
Had it been released, Cookstar would have been the first Cooking Mama game released on a non-Nintendo platform.
What a bizarre story this is.
Yeah.
Apparently they weren't Bitcoin mining though. So that's
no.
It's just a garbage game that overheats your Switch.
Apparently they threw that phrase into the investors pitch because they were just throwing buzzwordy phrases into the pitch for investors to invest in the game.
Okay.
So it was never going to be in the game.
So let's read some super chats.
Okay.
It's just Mecha Dragon. $5. About the ESRB, I don't see how that'll be useful for games like the Crash Team Racing remake, where they add microtransactions like a month after the game's reviews. They would need to make a revision of the box art.
Yeah. And it's not really for older games. It's more for the future. They're learning from the mistakes of the past in order to make sure this doesn't happen again in the future. When the ESRB was created, it was created because games like Mortal Kombat, Night Trap, and Doom were super violent and were not rated. Those games did not get re-rated, did not get re-released and re-rated until they were ported to future consoles. So it wasn't for the games that were already out. It was just for future games.
I think we could use San Andreas as an example with the hot coffee mod.
Mm-hmm.
The game was rated and everything.
Yeah.
And then it was discovered that if you do a certain thing, you could basically have sex in the game.
Yeah.
So that made the game from an M to an A.
AO.
So they had to patch it out. They had to withdraw copies of the game and make a second edition of the game. If it was still an M, let's say if it was still considered an M, but they had to include something like sexual themes, they would need to just add that to the box art. They would be forced to write sexual. They just make a new copy of the box art. So yeah, in a case like Crash Team Racing, they will have to just put it on the box in future copies. All right. More Switch consoles are on the way, promises
Hooray!
Nintendo. This is from Nintendo Life. We apologize for any inconvenience. With the world in lockdown at present, the Nintendo Switch has become a hot item as people try to find ways of keeping themselves entertained during this period of isolation. Demand for the system has outstripped supply for the past few weeks, and we've therefore seen crazy lottery systems in Japan and a hike in resale value elsewhere, even with the Switch Lite, which has been easier to find due to the fact that it lacks the ability to connect to the TV, is starting to sell out in some stores. However, Nintendo wants people to know that the situation is changing. The company has posted a tweet from its Japanese account, which assures competitive buyers that more stock is coming, while a Nintendo of America representative has told GameIndustry.biz that, quote, more systems are on the way. We apologize for any inconvenience. I think this tweet also includes the Animal Crossing edition.
Oh, that's good.
Let's see. Yes. Nintendo Switch itself, including Animal Crossing, and Nintendo Switch Lite are not shipped this week except for reservations. We will inform you of the shipping schedule next week. Oh, so they didn't actually say that we're getting the Animal Crossing ones. They're saying we weren't getting Animal Crossing ones last week. So they're restocking Switch, at least in Japan. I also want to bring up, now that they mentioned that resale value is crazy, because right now if you want to buy one, it's like $1 million.
Yeah.
I saw this on Reddit. Somebody made a post. This is a ridiculous post. How to build your own Nintendo Switch to starve out online price gougers. And I thought I was going to click on this. It was going to be like a guy building an Android tablet.
Yeah.
No. This guy spent a month buying each individual part off of eBay.
Wow.
And he legit built a whole Switch.
I saw an article, I don't know if it's the same thing, of like somebody like is basically making replacement parts for the Switch himself.
Oh, I don't know about that. These are legit parts.
Yeah. I'll see if I could find.
I forgot how
it's the same guy. He built his own Switch with replacement parts.
Yes. Well, yes, that's...
Yeah.
I guess a lot of these are replacements, but a lot of these are just legit parts, you know?
Yeah.
Like he says in here, for example, don't cheap out on the battery, get the actual battery. Because there's a lot of third-party garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, so the grand total for the parts he used to build them, $200, $199.
Wow.
But I mean, he didn't get a dock or a charger.
Yeah.
So it kind of doesn't pay unless, but you can't get one right now for that price. So
yeah,
he's kind of breaking even for if there was no starvation. eBay average price in January of this year was between $175 and $225 for, I guess, just the Switch unit. Or that might have included the dock. It sounds like that includes the dock. eBay average price as of April between $300 and $400. So he saved a buck for right now. If I were you, I would just wait. But if you can't wait and you really enjoy tinkering, and doing a little DIY and spending a month on a project, you can do this. This is Reddit user Sarbaz, Sarbaaz. So go find that and have a good time with yourself. People are crazy. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Oh, one last story.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 remake. Have you heard?
Sure.
Why are you sad?
Because I don't think this game needs a remake.
Controversial opinion.
I know.
Well, Resident Evil 4 remake is coming in 2022. That's a lot of 20s.
Yeah.
From a new studio. New reports say. Have you played 3 at all?
No.
I heard it's short, and that makes me want to play it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so just real quick on that. So everyone's like complaining about like the Resident Evil 3 remake is like shorter and like there's a lot less content and it's not as like feature packed as Resident Evil 2. But that was what the original Resident Evil 3 was.
Yeah.
That game was shorter and not as feature packed and not as
one
robust.
character.
Yeah. So sounds like a faithful remake to me. Anyway.
A Resident Evil 4 remake is coming from Capcom, according to reports citing insider knowledge. The reports, which have emerged on VGC Gematsu and through the Twitter account of frequent horror game leaker Dusk Golem. I didn't know. That's quite a niche.
Yeah.
All point to the Resident Evil 4 remake being on track to arrive sometime in 2022. They also indicate that work on the project has been led by M2 Studio since the developer reopened in 2018, meaning it's already been in the works for a while. Can you look up M2 and tell me what they made?
Well, that's confusing because there's an M2 which does all the Sega emulation.
That's why I need to know. M2 is the new studio led by former Platinum Games CEO Tatsuya Minami, which also assisted with development on the Resident Evil 3 remake. Though original Resident Evil 4 director Shinji Mikami is busy working on Ghostwire Tokyo at his Bethesda-owned studio Tango Gameworks. The reports indicate that he's given his unofficial blessing to the Capcom project and even provided a few pointers for its development. Resident Evil 4 first came out for Nintendo GameCube in 2005. Since then, it has been brought to nearly a dozen other systems. The longest we've ever gone without getting a new way to play Resident Evil 4 was the wait between its Android version in early 2013 and its PS4 and Xbox One versions in late 2016. Still, there were ports and remasters, not true remakes. According to these reports, Resident Evil 4 Remake has a larger team and a longer development schedule than both the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. So we should expect even bigger things. But before that, we should expect to finally see a true sequel to Resident Evil 7. The Resident Evil 8 release date is still reportedly set for 2021. I still have not played Resident Evil 7.
Me neither.
Or 6, for that matter.
Me neither. Yeah, I can't find anything on M2.
They're new. They're probably too new, apparently.
Yeah.
But then there's the other M2, which had me confused.
M2, yeah. There's M2, which is best known for like re-releasing Sega games. And then there's this M2, which apparently co-developed Resident Evil 3 along with K2 Inc. and Redworks.
Apparently, this has the 2 spelt out, and the second one is just the number 2, the letter 2. Mm-hmm. I also heard that, this article said that Resident Evil 4 is going to have a longer development.
Yeah.
I heard that it's been in development for a while already.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I might have heard that it was in development since even before the 2 and 3 remakes.
Right.
But I don't know if that's true. Either way, it's had an insanely long development cycle, so it's going to be bigger and crazier than Resident Evil 2 and 3 anyway. So that's, I would play that. I'm excited to play that.
I would play it, but Resident Evil 4 does not need a remake for many reasons.
Explain all of them.
Well, first of all, you have easy access to it.
True.
It's probably the easiest Resident Evil game to get access to. The reason why they remade 2 and 3 in the first place is because there was no easy way to get it up and running on modern systems.
Also, controlled like garbage.
There's that too. They wanted to put all the Resident Evil games on the same framework so that they can easily port it to future systems. And Resident Evil 2 and 3 were the only 2 games that weren't part of that framework. So that's part of the reason behind the remake. In terms of updating the game for like a more modern, control scheme, more modern gameplay sensibilities, all you really need to do with Resident Evil 4 is patch in a new control scheme. That's it. The level design is still really good. The enemy layout and AI is still really good. The weapons still all work perfectly well. The game has not really aged other than the control scheme. And even then, if you stick with it, you can play Resident Evil 4 with the old control setup and you get through the game perfectly fine. I'm doing it whenever I can play video games. But, other than that, like it's not a game that needs a full remake. All it really needs is a control patch and maybe, a texture pack update.
Yeah, I was going to say textures.
More modern textures.
Resolution, which they did.
Yeah.
Well, not textures, but they gave,
HD. The version of Resident Evil you can play now is an HD version with 60 frames a second, and that's perfectly fine. You know, a control patch, you can easily just patch it into the game that it is right now.
I think that a lot of the GameCube era and on, those games don't need a remake because they controlled well. A lot of them controlled just fine. The reason why we get a lot of remakes of older games is because they didn't control well, and there was weird things that it's hard to go back to, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about Metal Gear because people are saying the original Metal Gear needs a remake. And I keep thinking, they got that. It's called Twin Snakes on the GameCube.
Yeah.
And that was great. But apparently people hate Twin Snakes.
Yeah, because Twin Snakes added like all the gameplay additions from Sons of Liberty. And a lot of
everybody loves 2.
I know, but the thing is, the first Metal Gear Solid was not made to include a lot of the things from Sons of Liberty. And because of that, a lot of the abilities you get in Sons of Liberty, like, you know, shimmying along the edges and like first person aiming and stuff, breaks the first game in certain ways. Like, it makes the first game a lot easier.
I know the first person breaks the Ocelot fight.
Yeah.
The very first one, apparently, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not as bad as people make it.
It adds so much more cool stuff, though. It has all the wacky cutscenes.
Yeah, that's another thing. People are like, oh, the cutscenes in the original Metal Gear were so much better because Twin Snakes is like so outlandish and flamboyant and, you know, cartoony and whatnot.
That's the best part.
I know. And there's a story behind that. The guy who was directing the cutscenes for Twin Snakes originally made it as close to the original as possible. And then Kojima, everybody's favorite, came in and said, no, do them wacky. And it left. Yeah. So
make it more bombastic.
I think people want a Metal Gear remake because Kojima, before he left Konami, always said he wanted to remake the Metal Gear Solid into more open worlds. What the hell was the last game? Phantom Pain style, basically.
I want him to do that so bad, but it's not going to be what everybody wants.
Yeah.
If he remakes it that way, I mean, they should just give him a blank check and be like, do it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be the Metal Gear Solid 1 that everybody has in their heads. It's going to be this weird, crazy Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
But I want that so bad. But again, I mean, Twin Snakes is already, I think, a great remake. And I'd recommend playing that over the original any day.
Yeah.
Because it's just more accessible.
Well, not really. Twin Snakes it's accessible in terms of like gameplay, in terms of like actually getting it. Like, it still commands like $70 on the second market.
I mean playing it, because it's going to be a lot easier to play than the PlayStation 1 version for sure.
But I mean, there are so many, going back to Resident Evil, there are so many other, like Code Veronica.
Yes.
That's the game that needs an update because that's still using the old school layout, the tank controls and the fixed camera angles.
That's a lot of people's favorite Resident Evil. I would play that if they remade it like they did 2 and 3. That should be the next one they do.
That should be the next one they do, because that, if anything, needs an update. I would even accept if they did it like they did Resident Evil 1 and 0, if they still wanted to keep the fixed camera angles. Just to have it control in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
Or because they recently resubmitted the trademark for Dino Crisis.
Oh no.
That's a game that could, stand a remake.
I'm good.
Dino Crisis 1 is really good.
I'm good. I'm all right.
No, bro. Dino Crisis.
Actually, I booted it up on one of my stupid little emulator devices just to try the PlayStation, and the emulator device might have turned me off on Dino Crisis because it looked like absolute garbage.
We had the Dreamcast version. I played that a lot. Back in the day, it was a lot of fun.
So this game that I booted up, it starts you off as a dude. What's that about?
I don't remember.
It might have been in Japanese, and I mashed through menus. Is
it Dino Crisis 2? Because I didn't play that one.
It might have. It said 1, but it might have accidentally been the second one. This is a garbage emulation device.
I'm pretty sure in Dino Crisis 2, you always play as the girl, Regina.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought in Dino Crisis in general, you just play as the girl.
Yeah.
But this, I started up when I was a dude. Also, the first cutscene, there were no character models at all. So, and he didn't pop in until the game started, so it could have been the wrong character model.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
Yes.
Let's do the tweet of the week.
Tweet of the week.
This one's from our meme lord and savior, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
While others party, he study the blade, and it's a doggo with a sword in his mouth and a bunch of partying frat boys behind him. He looks like a Dark Souls boss. This is not an overuse. This is an old meme. I've never seen this.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's kind of a mashup of two memes.
Right.
While this party, he studied the blade, and it's like an edgelord guy with a sword.
Yeah,
like Aaron Hansen with the sword looking like all lame,
right.
On purpose. But this is a dog doing it. So, and it's a guy who runs a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yep.
So I thought it was like extra funny that in today's world, we got Elon Musk of all people serving us memes. All right, now is when we talk to you people.
Yes. As always, you can reach us on Twitter using the hashtag WolfDenLive. If you left a comment on last week's Wolf Den Live, and this is the part of the show we will finally answer you. And of course, ladies and gentlemen watching us at home, please start leaving your questions and comments because we will get to them when we are done with everybody else.
I should have opened Discord while you were talking.
You should have, but you didn't.
I didn't.
What do we do first? Twitter first?
We do Twitter first.
All right, I'll
using the hashtag WolfDenLive.
Muhammad Hader, do you think anybody on Earth still plays with Labo?
No. Not a single person.
I recently saw, I don't remember what store, but they were selling every single Labo kit for $20.
That is kind of a little sad.
They had to have known that was going to be very niche.
Ibabu says the new update made it easier to move save data through data management. So is it possible to move Animal Crossing save data from the Switch itself to a micro SD card, thus being able to have multiple save files via using different SD cards?
No, because they did not change. You cannot transfer save data. That remains on the Switch itself. The only thing you can do is possibly upload it to the cloud if they allow that for the game.
But also, yeah, this one particular game, you can't even touch the save data.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you like with Pokemon, you can transfer it from one Switch to another if you have them both in the same room.
Yeah.
You can't put it on the cloud. For Animal Crossing, it doesn't even give you that option. So that's it, you're screwed. Luke Antone, do you think that after we got official button remapping on Switch that we could also see official turbo and macros for the Switch controllers?
No.
I think that that's something that Nintendo will think will break certain games.
You don't typically see turbo and macro buttons on first-party controllers ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If you ask me if Nintendo would ever let you remap controls system-wide, I would have said no. So you never know. Yeah. But I don't think that that's ever something Nintendo would do. Adam Canas. It's happening. Sam, come in here. I'm having a stroke. Adam Canas, do you think the PS5 will get next-gen versions of the big PS4 games like Spider-Man or God of War?
No, because they've already seemed to make a big deal that you can play PS4 games on PS5. So I'd imagine at most these will just get texture packs.
I think we'll get definitive editions of some games. I don't know about God of War and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I think like The Last of Us Part 2.
Uncharted 4.
Maybe Uncharted. I'm thinking games at the end of the PS4 life cycle.
Right. Well, at the end of the PS4 life cycle, they just play it on PS5.
Well, I'm talking about The Last of Us 1.
Right.
Got a remaster.
Well, that got a remaster
a year later.
Because PS3 and PS4 had significantly different architecture. The PS5 is very close in architecture to the PS4, and the PS5 is going to have backwards compatibility baked into it.
Right.
So, and they've already made a big deal that like starting with the top 100 PlayStation games can be played on PS5 automatically. I imagine The Last of Us and Spider-Man and God of War are in that list.
But look
so
at
rather than spend the time and money to make a whole new game, just play the old game.
But look at how well The Last of Us Remastered did. And look at how well Grand Theft Auto 5 did when they moved it over.
Well, that's, Grand Theft Auto is Grand Theft Auto. And, The Last of Us, I don't think as many people played it on the PS3 as people who bought PS4s. So
also because it came with a lot of PS4s.
Yeah.
I think that Microsoft will be like, just play the Xbox One version on your Series X. It'll be fine. I think Sony will be like, give me money. We're going to make a new version. We're going to make it so you can see Joel's teeth in higher definition.
Well,
and then you were going to give us another $60.
When they show the PS5 behind closed doors, they show it with Spider-Man.
Right.
So it stands to reason that they would just use Spider-Man, like not make a whole new version of it.
Yeah, I'm sticking to my guns here saying that some games are not going to get that treatment. But games at the end of the life cycle, you might see a version. They're like, here's a photo mode. Give me $60, you know? All right, that's it for the hashtag. We got last week's Welcome Live. We got K Asante, who says, how can people believe a Switch can mine cryptocurrency? I own a GTX 1080 Ti hybrid in my PC. Congratulations, K.
That's a lot of letters and numbers.
Considered by many to be the card to beat, and although I've never tried it, I have read that even that card isn't fully up to the challenge, so it can take a while to get results. Imagine the current Switch running the same tasks. That would take years.
That goes back to the whole Cooking Mama situation. Again, it was they just threw in words to get investors to give money to them to make the game.
Cooking Mama's not mining cryptocurrency. Yeah. However, you can mine cryptocurrency with freaking anything. Well, it's just not going to be good at it.
Yeah, because I knew somebody who actually mined cryptocurrency.
I tried it on my old MacBook, and it mined. It just didn't get any Bitcoin at all.
He had several graphics cards to try and do this.
Yeah, and
like more than one, and it was like so hot he didn't pay for heating for like a month.
Yeah, and those graphics cards together probably aren't as good as a 1080 Ti.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you can mine cryptocurrency with a 1080 Ti, but if you go on these message boards that are talking about mining cryptocurrency, they're going to say you need 10 1080 Ti's in order to optimally do it the way that they do it.
Yeah.
You know? So if you mine cryptocurrency on one Nintendo Switch, you're going to get almost nothing. But if you mine cryptocurrency on 100,000 Nintendo Switches, you might get a buck or two.
Yeah.
Which is what people thought Cooking Mama was doing. And it turns out that they were not doing that. But it's not too far-fetched is what I'm saying. And it would destroy your Nintendo Switch. It would run super hot. Alex, you say this name.
Alex Adeliide.
That was
Adelaide. Alex Adelaide.
Okay. Man, it took me like 5 years to stop calling the share button select, and now they're changing the stuff up again.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, because we're talking about the PS5 controller. What do they call it? What is it?
Hamburger and French fries.
No, what is it actually called?
Create.
Yeah. I had to talk about the capture button. Because on the Switch, it's called the capture button, right? Did we come to that conclusion? Okay.
Yes.
I forgot. Anyway. Marcos Baratelli. I missed the live show because I was watching Forrest Gump with my family. Don't regret it, though.
It's a good movie.
I've never seen it.
It's very good.
I've been in a hole of watching clips of movies on YouTube. Like I fall into holes of like I'll just keep getting suggested the same movie. So that happened to me with this was yesterday. I stayed up all night. Monday night into Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was watching clips while I was doing stuff. I was watching clips of what the hell was that movie? The Departed.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm just gonna watch it. And then I just watched the whole Departed.
Yeah.
Instead of just watching clips. And it was a great movie. Good flick.
Departed's a great movie. You want to talk about a whole YouTube hole? So randomly on my like front page, it had a clip from the show Magic's Biggest Secrets Finally Revealed.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, I used to watch this show as a kid. Let me watch this. And then that led to another clip from the same show and another. There's an official YouTube channel for it.
The mask guy.
Yes. And I'm just making my way through them. I don't know why.
This is a hole that I would get caught in.
Yeah. So I now know at least 5 different ways to reveal, is this your card?
I lost interest in this show the one time they did how to make a plane disappear.
Yeah.
And it was like, how are you going to get... They built it up the whole episode. They're like, how are we going to get this giant plane to just not be here anymore?
Yeah.
We'll tell you in 45 minutes once you watch all these commercials. And then the way they did it was they moved the camera.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not magic. That's a camera trick. You're not supposed to do that.
A lot of the ones where like they make a big thing appear or they make something disappear and there's a crowd. It's always like the crowd's in on it.
There's a good Chris Angel one that I saw in a Funhouse video, where they're like, all right, we're gonna take this ATV, drive it across the Grand Canyon, and then I'm gonna appear in that cage that's dangling over the Grand Canyon. And they show him, he's in a motorcycle helmet. He's like, I'm going, goodbye. And he goes to Evel Knievel over the Grand Canyon, and then a giant pyrotechnic flame overtakes the camera, and then he's in the cage. And it's like, all right, we know what you did.
Yeah.
It's very obvious.
And like, I wouldn't consider myself a fan of magic. Like, I don't follow magicians and crap. I like Penn and Teller, just like the next guy, but that's about it. But I will watch every single video of this masked man telling me how they do magic tricks.
I do get in my YouTube hole with magic is Penn and Teller's Fool Me or whatever.
Fool Us, yeah.
But the thing with that is, like, a lot of times you can just rewatch the video and you can see where the trick is. Or you go into the comments and people figure it out.
Yeah, like magic is a lot like wrestling. If you watch it close enough, you can see, like, you know, the smoke and mirrors. It's supposed to be seen, you know, once. And you're like, how did they do that?
Yachts in the chat says, Bob, magic isn't real. Shaking my head. Is it not? These people can make things disappear.
Magic with a K is real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think there's one more.
Yeah. Batcraft.
He says, you can fix the COD crossplay voice chat issue by literally looking at the in-game audio settings. No, you can't. Working every time. Just get the humans who can't be heard by everyone to look at their settings. That's it. No, that didn't work. We did that. we went to the settings, turned them off, turned them back on, and did it like a million times and nothing. Because you can enable voice chat and disable it. That worked for me when everybody was on PS. So that happened recently. We were all playing on PS4.
Right.
I couldn't hear one of the other people, and we went into the voice chat and enabled it and disabled it, and that worked. But in that particular instance, when we were all on different consoles, it did not work.
Right.
So I understand why you think that might have worked, because it did work when we were on PS4, but it did not work the 2 times we were all on different consoles. Okay, now we're in the chat.
All right.
I really like Call of Duty Warzone. I was playing it. I streamed it the other day. I had a really good time. It was great. I got 2 wins now.
Nice. And we have $10 from Luke Morris. Smile, Wolf Den crew. Your podcast is amazing. Keep up the good gaming news.
Don't tell me what to do. I'll frown as hard as I want.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't you know you never tell a girl to smile?
Well, I made 2 successful lattes.
Look at you.
Out of my latte. I mean, the latte art has been absolute trash. But they taste all right.
Well, tonight's tea was made by the nice electronic tea kettle that you got me for my birthday. Thank you very much for that.
That's the same company that made my
yes,
espresso
I
maker.
saw your tweet to Anthony Carboni of the Star Wars show.
Yes, we're best friends now. Me and
I saw that. I'm kind of jealous.
Trying to get in on the Star Wars show.
Yeah. I made Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Oh my God. I've never had one.
So you could just buy the mix. You have to provide your own cheese and butter, but other than that, it tastes exactly the same. So
And you don't even like cheese.
yeah, I might have used a little less cheese in the recipe provided, but don't tell my wife.
She's probably like, it's good, but it needs more cheese. But I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna say
like,
that.
oh, I followed the recipe exactly.
All right, we need to read some chat here.
All right, Jordan Rand.
I knew you were going to read that one.
Well,
Why that one,
attention.
Will?
Hashtag Will was right. If you want to guarantee your comment gets read, either give us money or use the hashtag. I vote yes for Will to review toys and also for you to voice over the entire Ninja Turtles movie. You totally nailed one of my favorite Raph lines.
Oh my god.
That will be on my OnlyFans page. I will redo the entire Ninja Turtles movie.
You should legit start an OnlyFans page. I will voice over whatever cartoon you want.
Whatever late 80s, early 90s nostalgic movie you want. I will do every single voice, every single character.
Whatever 2-minute YouTube clip you send me for $5, I will voice over the whole thing. Marcos in the chat says, I can imagine Kojima coming into the RE4 development studio, randomly screaming at people and trying to make everything more artistic. I think there's some weird Konami situation going on where Konami wants to license out some games, even though this is like an unfounded rumor that's really just people speculating.
Did we talk about this?
We've talked about it before.
Somebody said like, oh, Konami is going to sell Metal Gear and Castlevania to Sony or some crap.
I think it's just wishful thinking, but that's the obvious choice for Konami because there's no reason for them to have those IPs.
No, but Konami is the type of company that would not sell its IPs because they think they can make money off of it in some way.
Right.
Because like they did re-release like a Contra collection, a Castlevania collection.
Those pachinko machines would be, but give the license in some capacity. Like they don't have to sell the whole Metal Gear license, but be like make a deal where you can make one game.
Yeah.
You know? Because Metal Gear Survive, that wasn't cutting it.
No.
Mega Dragon with $5. Bob, I'm teaching myself to draw during this quarantine. Wish me luck. Good luck, Mega Dragon. Break everything down into shapes.
Yeah. My
face is a circle with a trapezoid on the bottom.
And Mecha Dragon with another $5. Will, whatever happened to that guy that asked you if you read all those comics?
Oh yeah, okay, I'm Cherokee. Somebody else in the chat named him. He gave up. He was like, Will doesn't read comics anymore ever.
Yeah, no, he realized I'm a sham. I don't even know what the hell a Superman is.
I read this on a stream the other day. I got a comment. There was a comment last week on last week's Wolfden Live. People like to comment like they're watching it live, and they just comment along and just make like a million different comments. This one guy said, you have hours to overanalyze this crap, but then in the Switch, which SNES games are worth playing video, you admit you've never played Super Metroid in your life. You're what sucks about gaming, LOL. And then he left like 4 other comments.
Yeah.
Some of them were laughing at our jokes, so I don't know what his problem is. Bram says a new game called Vigor is coming. Do you think it will be good? I don't know what you talk about.
I've heard of that.
I have not heard of this game.
Online game.
I do not know this game.
Free-to-play action online game by Bohemia Interactive for the Xbox One. It's an early access.
The rifle on the back has engraved in it, "Bad Daddy." I'm in. When do I get my copy?
Yeah. It's an online looter shooter set in a post-apocalyptic Norway.
Norway.
Yeah. Goal is to stay alive and build a shelter that will protect against the harsh environment. All right, so it's like a survivalist game meets PUBG meets Borderlands, I guess. Looter shooter.
Nate Trout in the chat says, what's the best Switch Online multiplayer title right now? Jesse says probably Warframe. I'm going to say Warframe is up there. The best, I might say Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Just because how could you beat that? But
yeah.
I mean,
well, Animal Crossing, but I guess that's a different
also
type
true
of online multiplayer.
Yeah, it's not really competitive.
Yeah.
I'll say Smash Brothers, but Warframe is like top 3, I think.
Yeah.
It's really, really. Also, Warface is pretty good. I think Warframe is better though. King Rat with $5. Bob, have you used the RG350 handheld? Oh, I did see you comment this before. If so, how is it trying to find a good handheld emulator during these times? And I've gone down a hole. I've been there. I have not purchased one yet, but I will be. I do intend to make a video on the RG350 because everybody says that one's the best one. I still love.
Oh, do I know this? I might be confusing this with another one.
You're confusing it with RGT85, the YouTuber?
No, I'm confusing with one that like maybe this is it. It's one that you have to like put together yourself.
No,
like they send you the pieces and you put it together.
Linus
it's a lot
Tech
more
Tips
expensive.
did a video on that. That's something different.
Yeah.
So the RG350 is the one that a lot of people talk about. Mm-hmm. A lot of emulator devices will put RG350 in the title on Amazon to try to get you to buy theirs. This one, the new Pocket Go, is my current favorite, but I have not tried the RG350 yet. So I'm a fan of this, but I want to give the RG350 a shot before I give a definitive answer on what the best one is. I'm done. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Guys, thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for chatting with us. As always, Wulff Den Live is every single Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on youtube.com/WulffDen. If you can't make the show for any reason at all, we always put it up as an archived version on Thursday for you to watch on demand whenever you want. If you prefer to listen to us rather than watch us, you could do that as well. We're also an audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher. And if you listen to us on any of those platforms, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us because that helps us with placement on those respective stores. Also, if you want to watch just a little bit of Wulff Den Live, or maybe you want to send a certain clip over to your buddies, then head on over to Wulff Den Clips, where our good friend Eric Henley takes this week's episode and cuts it down into bite-sized chunks for your viewing pleasure.
I tried to mouth it along with you, and I couldn't do it. Yeah, go do all that, whatever you said. Also, twitch.tv/WulffDen. I might be there tomorrow. I don't know. I got to play something that's not Animal Crossing. I played Mega Man 0 last week and had a good time. A little bit of a rage-inducing time. I had no idea how hard that game is. Like, I know Mega Man X games can get hard. Not as hard as original Mega Man, but they can get pretty hard.
Mega Man games are hard, just in general. Like, they're all hard.
Mega Man X
is, like, harder.
No, I think Mega Man X is doable.
There are certain games that are easier than others.
I would say Mega Man X is among the easier ones.
Yeah.
If you play it in the right order. Mega Man 0 is just unforgivingly hard. Did you know, like I know we're supposed to be ending. Did you know that it gives you all of the levels to just choose from off the bat, and then there's no specific order you beat them in, but if you lose all of your lives on one of the levels, you can't play that level again.
Really?
Yeah, it's just you're dead.
Huh.
Well, you can go back to the select screen, but you lost the level. You can't play that level again.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how freaking unforgiving that game is.
That's unforgiving.
So maybe I'll keep playing that. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see y'all later. Goodbye.
Bye.